All right, welcome back, YouTube. This is Eric at Hormones for Me, YouTube channel with Ryan Root at hormonesforme.com, TRT HRT Clinic. With us tonight is Amy for the second edition on nutrition, hormones, and fitness. Of course, we'll be taking questions, guys, that are going to be on topic. So you can drop those in the chat. We'll flag those for you and get to those after Amy does this awesome professional presentation that she has put together for us. A couple of the things that we're going to talk about tonight before we get started is this thing called legit scripts that we are not, we as the clinic, Ryan's clinic here is going for. So presently there are some things that are happening that most likely you probably haven't noticed yet, but you will notice is that our IG account is going to be taken down for about a month. There has been already 30 something plus videos that have been put into private, as far as the Facebook page, Reddit, subreddit. All those are going to be on pause for another month. The Facebook group, I'm just going to go ahead and make a change to the name of the group. So the Facebook group will be on there. But what's going to happen is I'm going to be taking down all of the channel links that are on Ryan's channel, Hormones for Me, so that they won't be visible. And I'm going to also be taking all the links down that are in the description box. But this is just temporary. It's only going to be happening for about a month. I'm going to let Ryan go ahead and expand on this because this really just popped up literally like 48 hours ago. So, Ryan, let's talk about legit scripts and what's going on.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. And thanks, Amy, also for coming on. This is it's always great to have you.
Oh, I love coming on with you guys. This is awesome.
We're definitely going to get into how you're doing and how everything's going with you. But yeah, I think it's important to address what we're doing here. The company's growing. We're doing a lot of things. One of the things that we actually have to do to be able to set up an SEO campaign and to advertise on social media is to become legit script certified. For legit scripts, so we actually hired a company to audit us and hold our hand through the process of legit script certification, because it is a very, very difficult process, and there's a lot of red tape. So when they did an audit of our social media, it raised quite a few red flags. I think there's a little over 200 incidents, wasn't there, Eric?
Yeah.
Well, in some of these cases, we just decided that we're just going to kind of temporarily shut down and rebrand and redo a lot of things. But some of the social media, we're just going to kind of shut it down and redo it and then open it back up. While we, in the interim, we can get the legit script certification. Now, I think everybody knows that we're a company that thrives on progress. We thrive on science. We thrive on progress, and progress means that we move outside of the box, and that we have outside of the box thinking, and that we use empirical data and experience to see what yields the best results for people. And progress can be defined as trying new things, right? I mean, if we all did the same things, there'd be no such thing as progress. It would just kind of be doing the same thing, operating inside the box. I'm discovering new things, and what I've discovered, again, we understand how slow and closed-minded the medical community is, and now I'm discovering a new reason for that. While we're going for legit script certification, I am shocked and appalled at the amount of censorship. They force us into this box that the FDA approves of. And we all know that the FDA medical community as a whole moves at a snail's pace with regards to progress and understanding new treatments and understanding the new science, contemporary data, contemporary knowledge. And they force us inside this box, and then we wonder why there's no progress, right? So we're censored. In order to be taken seriously in this industry, we have to get this legit script certification. In order to be able to advertise our services on social media, we're forced to get this legit script certification. To get this legit script certification, we have to be censored. we have to throw the First Amendment right out the window. We have to conform to the box that the FDA puts us in, that the medical community puts us in. And that's the opposite of, right? That's stagnation. So what we're going to do and what we intend to do is get all this certification, get to the point where we are taken seriously, get to the size of a company where we're taken seriously, and then we're going to fight it all from the inside. So for now, we have to do a lot of conforming, but we're a company, and we're not going to lose sight of what we do, of what we are, and that's living on the edge. Again, using science to progress and to try new things and to do new things. And that's our identity, and we're going to stay with that. But right now, we have to conform to get on the inside, and then again, we'll fight from the inside. It's just you keep turning over these rocks about why, and when we ask the questions, why is the medical community stuck in these antiquated notions and dogma from decades ago? This is another reason why. There's a myriad of reasons all coalescing and creating this massive problem. And here's another reason why we can't use the word 8. I've been trying to think if I should say it. I don't think they're going to watch this video. We can't use the word 8CG. We can't use the words Nandrolone. We can't say things like D-ball, primobolan. I mean, we can't even use these words. Like we can't. And so if you can't even use these words, how can you address the concepts that these are actually beneficial medications? It's pretty crazy. So like, what do we have to do? For now, we have to conform. For now, we have to watch our titles of videos, because fortunately, no regulator is going to watch 10,000 hours of videos that we produce, but they will go over. They might like pop in here and there, and so we're gonna. But
really,
we have to
think so. You think that they actually have the resources to just pop in on a random channel?
I think they could. I think we have to operate under the assumption that that's a possibility. Yeah. But we still have to maintain our identity. Like we're not going to go away. We're not going to stop living on the edge. And another thing that we're doing right now is creating another company that lives on the outside of this. And this company on the outside of this. So we're going to have our hormone company and affiliated, but living on the outside of this will be this other company that we can actually use to really fight the system, fight what's going on, fight for what's right, and fight for progress. And then we can do that outside of this, hormone HRT clinic, So, we have ways to get around this, but getting onto the inside and then fighting from the inside is the goal right now. So, yeah, this is what Omar just said. Like, open a new channel and change the name. That's actually what we're going to do. We're going to have this channel still, but we're also our new company that we're forming. We're going to have a lot of content on there that kind of bucks the system and lives on the edge, lives in science, rooted in science, but also lives kind of on the edge. Here's Charles. Charles is helping us with all this. So, but yeah, this is a good thought, Omar, because this is part of what we're going to do. We're going to have another channel that actually that's indirectly affiliated with the clinic, so we can talk about whatever we want. But a lot of changes and progress coming. It takes time. It takes time to build this infrastructure, and in the meantime, we have to conform, so we can fight from the inside. So that's what we're doing. You're going to notice that Instagram, Facebook, the Facebook group will still be there.
Facebook group will still be up. Yeah,
it will be titled differently.
Yeah, I'm just going to change the name on it. That's all. But because the Facebook group we're getting right now, an average of 5 to 7, 8 members a day, and I think it's a real good platform there, the Facebook group for leads to come in for the clinic. Amy, I think we're picking up background noise. I sent you a private chat. If you go into the audio setting on StreamYard and you click on echo cancellation and reduce background noise, that should resolve your issue.
I have that turned on. I apologize. I'm in a business center and they're
that's all right. Don't worry.
Going nuts next to me. So
It's not
If you already
that.
did it, don't
Yeah.
worry about it. That's fine.
Yeah, I have it. I have it turned on. I just don't know. And I can try and get closer to my mic, or I can
No,
hold
don't
it
worry
closer.
about it.
Is
Don't
it
worry
better if
about it.
it's closer? I can
No,
hold
don't
it.
be.
It's all right.
I don't want you stressing about the background noise while you're doing your
No.
presentation.
It's not that bad.
It seems like they might not be. They're coming in and out of door right next to me. I
Yeah,
apologize.
it's okay. It's okay. It's probably worse in my headset than it is on the screen.
Yeah.
I can hold the mic.
Okay.
It's okay.
So yeah, no, I don't want you to have to do that, Amy. It's fine. Amy's got to be out at 8:30 tonight, and we're going to say hi real briefly here to everybody in the chat, and then we're just going to jump right into this presentation. Amy just started her prep. She's a couple weeks in. She's got 14 weeks to go. Give her a vote of confidence here because she feels like she's struggling in the beginning of her prep here, but I think she looks great, and I know she's going to do awesome. We got WJ and his bodybuilding MWF Monday, Wednesday, Friday only for him because he's over 50, you know, so we only do it 3 days a week now. Member Quaz is with us. What up, brother? Daniel M. He's got the wrench.
Daniel.
Look out, guys. And we got member Zionic with us. Good to see you, brother. Thank you for coming out tonight. Omar, member Omar at that. What's up? He says. What's up, Omar? And who else we got? We got Shane Wilson. Good evening, everyone. And that is member Shane Wilson at that. Of course, Amy is with us. Who else? We got Crowbar. Always dropping these interesting emojis. Never seen that one before. What's up, Condon? Good to see you, man. And it looks like Omar again. I like him so much, I just keep showing him. And then, of course, we got Charles. Man, this guy can work. He just sent me that. Sent me those reports today. I was like, holy shit! Is what went through that. Yeah, I was loving it. We got some serious work to do, bro. So I'm looking forward to working with you because it's going to take more than 2 hands to get this done. Yeah. That's what she said. Anyways, Joshua Perry.
You think
what's up, brother?
People will like that?
Yeah. Joshua, thanks for coming out, man. You're making it every week. Appreciate it.
Thank you,
lastly, we got Mickey Manning. Thanks, bro. Good to see you, man. And all right, we're gonna hop into this. Amy, first off, how you doing? You doing good?
Yeah, tell us how you're doing. I haven't talked to you enough lately.
Yeah,
I know it feels like it's been forever. Oh, thank you, Wolf. Yeah, I just started prep about 3 weeks ago, and it's a different prep than I've ever experienced before, but that's all right. My coach has reassured me that we will definitely be ready on time. So all I could do is keep checking those prep boxes.
Here we go. Wolf follows you on your vlog. Yeah. For everybody, we'll put her vlog in the link to this. But I always say this, and I say it every time, maybe. But I think it's a unique opportunity to see inside the mentality of somebody who's preparing for these shows, and you don't see that. People don't get raw. People don't get. They don't get so.
I get pretty raw.
Yeah, and it's fantastic. Like, if you want to understand what it is, what the mentality is of someone who's preparing for this, then I don't think there's a better vlog to watch than your show, than your vlog. I mean, it's fantastic. It's really, really well done.
Thank you. Yeah, it's there's sometimes, I'll ask my assistant, because she sees me every day, and even for her, she knows me so well. She's like, yeah, I mean, like it really is. She's like, you don't hold anything back. Yeah. Like, I really don't. Like,
I mean, it's beautiful. There's something profound about it where like again, we're getting this edited version from everybody else. And I want to see the raw mentality. Like, and it's beautiful to see. It really is.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I have some jump cuts in my next week video because I had recording issues and recorded it in 2 chunks and all those things. And I think I even say in there, like, this is real life, people. Like, this is what happens.
That's great. That's great. Oh, okay. Is there?
So we're going to get started.
Yeah, go ahead, Eric.
Oh, go ahead. I'm just copying down these questions here. Actually, Amy, I'm going to ask you a quick question before we get started, because by the time we finish this presentation, we'll be long past it. After a 5-day fast, what's the best restart meal?
Oh, a 5-day fast. You got to start slowly. If it's been, especially like a water only fast, I would start with things like bone broth, and then like very easy to digest foods. Like the more cooked and pureed, the better. So something like, I wouldn't even start with like whole proteins. I do maybe like a little bit of yogurt. If you tolerate dairy, or coconut yogurt, you don't, just kind of build up there, because I will say this, I've had some of the worst experiences digestively coming out of a fast, thinking that like it's great and you're hungry, and like, so you start eating and like, oh, it does not go well. Like you got to treat that digestive tract like a newborn baby. Like start with easy to digest things, then some, like maybe some eggs or like egg yolk, like hard boiled egg yolk, like easy to digest things.
Mm-hmm. In the case where you start too strongly, like that's a great advice. In the case where somebody would start too strongly, like they'd go right for whatever they were craving. What are the issues? Are we looking at potential like inflammatory responses or strong digestive issues, or?
Yeah, for most people, if you go, hard in on like a big meal right after a fast, your digestive system just isn't really ready to assimilate that. So it's likely going to push it through really quickly. So you'll likely end up with some extreme urgency. And that's not the end of the world, but it just doesn't, it's not a great experience to come out of a fast and then have, digestive upset. But you're not going to run the risk of like a permanent health implication from doing that. It just won't be a very fun time. I
remember, and you see this in documentaries, and I learned it in school too, during the Holocaust, when the survivors were finally saved, one of the things they made sure not to do is feed them too fast and too much, because they were starving and they wanted to eat. And you had all these scientists like, no, you can't eat, everything you want. You can't cram your food full of stomach. Like it could actually really hurt people.
In that situation, yes. Like if you're in a severe starvation state for months and months and months, your body has downregulated. I mean, we'll be talking about that, the digestive component of that all of these things that happen in your body digestively all start to get suppressed. And those things don't just come back instantly. Things like reduced stomach acid, reduced bile flow, like those things are severely decreased and may not even come back all the way. I mean, somebody who's been starved for months, years, etc., is going to have digestive issues likely for life. But if you were to start suddenly feeding that person, I mean, again, their body's just not ready. They're going to be throwing up. They're going to be having dumping syndrome. Like it's not going to be good, and they're not going to get nutrients from it. So it's kind of, it'd just be wasted food at that point.
Yeah.
It sounds awful to say to a starving person, but
I know
you have to really build it up slowly. Yeah.
Yeah. Very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I've never even heard of dumping syndrome, but Josh was saying it too, and you just said it. So very interesting.
I had dumping syndrome just before I came down here.
Sounds like a different syndrome.
Oh, that wasn't the dumping syndrome you're talking about.
Different type of syndrome. Okay. All right. Go ahead, Eric.
Oh, yeah. All right. So, Amy, you ready to get started with this presentation? Looks fantastic. Let's pull this slide up.
But before we start, like again, Amy always A1 for presentations. We always try to like prepare a little bit more than I've noticed. Like a lot of podcasts you go on, a lot of people just are impromptu about it, right? We always try to prepare, as best we can, and sometimes it's we have guests that are busy, so it's but we put something together. Amy puts together these pristine class A presentations. So
I love it when she's coming on. I'm like, I don't have to do anything. I'm just waiting for her to send me the file.
The teacher in me.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna learn.
Yeah.
I just sit here and I'm learning tonight.
Yeah.
And, I'll just flip the slides.
Yeah.
Copy questions.
Awesome.
Okay. All right. So
let's just real quick from WJ here. I always hear what is he saying? Fermented, partially digested foods like yogurt and ghee are good for break extended fast. Is that true?
Yeah, and that's my point with like having like very cooked, very pureed, like starting off with simple things, single ingredients like cooked egg yolk, bone broth. Ghee is a great example of some fats that might be really easily tolerated after a fast. Almost like what you would, like I said, like what you would feed a newborn or a 6-month-old baby, like pureed stuff, soft, single ingredient foods. Yeah.
It's interesting.
So you could kind of like chew it first, like a bird does for their babies.
Right. Yeah. You can chew it up yourself or getting things like, like cooked carrots, like rather than raw carrots. I wouldn't go in for like a kale salad right after you end a fast. Like that just is, again, it's not going to hurt you health wise, but it's not going to feel great in the moment. It's a rough way to come out of a fast.
Yeah. Charles here. How do you fast for 5 days? You had a hard time fasting for 5 hours. Fasting takes practice and time. I used to fast all the time, like regularly, and 5 days was nothing, right? But
Wow.
back then I wasn't burning a lot of calories. I was in a sedentary state, so it was a lot easier. If I tried to do that now, oh my gosh, I'd turn into a bear by
Erick,
freaking 3 in the afternoon.
Erick, cocaine and crystal meth really help fasting.
That doesn't count. Come on, right? When you're on a freaking week-long bender, that doesn't count. All right, you got it. All right, there you go, Amy. Floor is yours.
All right, so digestion, and I did want to make this very much about digestion, just kind of an overview, but then also I have a few slides that talk specifically about why hormones matter with digestion, because it really does. So we can go to the next slide. Have a couple of fabulous quotes to start this out. All disease begins in the gut. And we're going back.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I was just it's crazy how long ago that some of these like philosophers are just understood this, right? And now we're just like in modern medicine, we're just starting on the cusp of understanding this. And look, Hippocrates was talking about this. When was this? The 1500s?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Was it Bill and Ted who said some ancient or some Greek old dude or something is what they called him? Hippocrates. Yeah. No, I mean, it's fundamental. And the next slide is also another great one. Our food should be medicine and our medicine should be our food. They understood this because it's what they had to work with. So they saw very much that like what you're putting in is what you're getting out. And that is the fundamental of digestion, which is my next slide, that you are not what you eat, you are what you digest. Because if you're just eating food that's just going through you and you're not getting anything out of it, or your body isn't breaking it down correctly, that's not it. Like it's what you put in, but it's what you get out of what you put in that is what you build yourself with. Digestion is absolutely the foundation of health. It enables nutrient absorption, energy production, waste elimination. There's the things that we eliminate through our waste is not just leftovers, like it's other things that the body has pulled out, the heavy metals, other things that need to be, toxins that need to get out of the body, all go out through the waste, which is part of our digestive system. So it impacts everything from skin to sleep, immunity, hormone health. Everything is impacted by digestion, every function of the body. Go to the next slide. It's important to understand with digestion that it is a north to south process. And I think this is where people tend to like jump to one thing. Oh, 400 BC. We were way off, Ryan.
Gosh. Yeah, just by a little bit.
Just like 1,000 years. Several hundred years out. And when people tend to think of digestion as like just the stomach. And I've got some pictures coming up that show the digestive system and how complex it is. And it really starts in the brain. It starts with you thinking about food and seeing food. Like it isn't just the eating of food. It's literally from the very first even smell or thought. You don't even have to see it. You can just think about food and it get your salivary enzymes working. These are powerful processes, but they have so much more to do with our whole being than just this digestive system that we've all seen this picture 1,000 times. Like, oh, yep, these are the organs of the digestive system. Here's my stomach, here's my intestines, but it's way more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just here's another one. I mean, like it gets even more complex. I mean, now we're showing, bile production and the layers of the stomach and the lumen and all of these parts. Like it's very complex.
Now you mentioned bile. I want to talk to you a little bit here about the problem I'm having. Maybe you can help me out. It's been going on for some time where it's kind of hard to explain. All right. So I'll wake up. A lot of times my stomach just doesn't feel so great. My mornings are pretty ritualistic. I have a protein shake. I have usually a smoothie or a cup of orange juice. I have a cup of coffee. Of course, all that mix doesn't sound so appetizing now that I think about it. But what happens is I get heartburn, what people call quote unquote heartburn. All right. It's not really heartburn. My stomach starts to like literally catch on fire. There's been times here. I got a Tums right here. Right here. Yeah, sitting right here. There's times I'm sitting here on the stream and I'm like, holy shit. Like, I feel like I'm going to just vomit up a bunch of freaking bile, right? So I'd have to eat Tums. I'm eating like probably about 6 to 8 Tums a day because whether, I've tried different things, taken some things out of my diet and things back into my diet. And especially when I take my supplements, because, I take a freaking arsenal of supplements every day. So then I started splitting up my subs because I found after I would take my supplements, I'd get real nauseous. My stomach start feeling like shit. Next thing you know, I'm pounding on Tums. Now, I've come to understand that if you have that so-called heartburn feeling in your stomach, it's actually a lack of stomach acids. Is that true?
It can be. It isn't always, but it definitely can be related to low stomach acid or just stomach acid that isn't getting produced at the appropriate time. And that is something that you can kind of train your body. Timing of foods, supplements, though, can be real triggers for some people. I mean, there are supplements that just give people heartburn, and taking them at different times of day, like at night, switching things to nighttime, taking them only with food helps, because if you take them with food, there should hypothetically be more stomach acid present because your body's getting the right signaling that food is coming. Taking supplements on an empty stomach is kind of a recipe for disaster in a lot of cases because your body doesn't know that food is coming. It doesn't know what's coming. So then it gets all this stuff that it's trying to break down, and it doesn't really, it's not getting the right signals at the right time. So I would look at what you were consuming with and or right before supplements specifically, but having kind of chronic burning sensation in the stomach throughout the day that you're eating a lot of Tums for, I would definitely start looking at things like, should we have you do a little test to see if you have low stomach acid? Now, there can be other causes of that, so I don't want people to think that that's always the case, but it's very likely, and that's something that people end up doing, and then they're suppressing any stomach acid that they do have, and then down regulating those sensors so that then when they do eat, then there's not enough stomach acid, which then makes the stomach overproduce, but by the time it does, the food's already moved out of the stomach, so then you get even more, stomach or acid reflux can then happen. Are you getting any reflux, or is it just does it stay kind of?
Sometimes it's reflux. It's mostly just my stomach gets on fire and nausea, kind of like nauseous feeling.
Yeah. So that's more probably just that timing issue and seeing how it is throughout the rest of the day and kind of getting your stomach back online.
I used to have an iron freaking gut. I could eat anything and I've never had any problems until recently, the last maybe, I don't know, less than a year. But it's been getting worse and worse. So that's all. We'll move on. I wanted to just ask you about that. Yeah, I saw what Joshua is here, track my meals. That's really what I should be doing, is tracking exactly and then finding out when it kicks, when it's the worst, and when I'm fine, when I eat and I'm fine, because it's not all the time, but a lot of meals I'll eat, I'll feel fine, and then afterwards I'll be oh my god, this is fucking awful.
And the nausea component, I mean, that's where I think that maybe it is more of a bile issue, not so much just the stomach acid itself. And that's where, like Josh said, that's when we'd start kind of just tracking symptoms, figuring out what foods were triggering it, what triggered nausea, what triggered the burning, when you were having reflux, all those things might have a different root cause. Okay, cool. Thank you. I appreciate it. Let's go ahead and put this back up. You ready for the next slide? I am. All righty. Yes. So step one, like I said, step one of digestion starts in the brain. So your brain is what starts that process of, like I said, even thinking about it, seeing it, smelling it. We are trained, Pavlov, we are trained to know that food is coming. So all those things start it. And then in the mouth is when we actually start the mechanical process or the mastication of food. So we start to actually break it down mechanically and with salivary enzymes that mix with the food, and then we, swallow. So step one is all above the neck. And then what goes into the stomach, by that point should be a well-chewed bolus of food. The stomach produces hydrochloric acid, HCl, and pepsin that help start to break down chemically. So the stomach is an extremely acidic environment. If you were to drop, stomach acid on a metal surface, it would start to, burn through it. It's extremely acidic. That begins the process of breaking down the proteins. You're also getting things that are going to kill off pathogens. And this is very chronic, like SIBO infections or other infections of the gut, dysbiosis, are almost always able to be kind of traced back to episodes of food poisoning. And that can very much be related to low stomach acid. That's why you'll see people eat all the same meal and one person is the one that gets terrible food poisoning. Right. It could be because they don't have enough stomach acid to kill off any of those pathogens, because that's a lot of what that hydrochloric acid is doing as well. So it's killing off anything bad before it gets into the intestines. And the stomach also moves. So it undulates, like it has a mechanical movement. So not only is it breaking down food with these chemical substances, it's also doing these wave-like movements to kind of break down the food further. Your stomach does have stretch receptors, which is why, you can feel a sense of fullness. It doesn't, our internal organs don't have a lot of pain receptors, but it's that fullness that then would, trigger the nerves around it that you start to feel that. It's just because it's stretching. So it has these stretch receptors that then trigger your brain to be like, oh, we're full. There also is timing. And if we go to the next step where the food is leaving the stomach to go into the small intestines, where this is where, most of the absorption of nutrients happens. Pancreas is going to release enzymes. This is also what makes it the right pH essentially to leave the stomach. So our body wants all the food that's in the stomach to be broken down to a certain point at the right pH to leave the stomach, but that isn't always what happens. And this is where things can go wrong with digestion. If the bolus of food is being kind of forced out of the stomach because it's either been in there too long or you didn't have enough enzymes to break it down appropriately, it's still at some point is going to get released into the small intestine. And from there, that's where it should be broken down to this specific point. We'll talk more about the things that go wrong with digestion, but it moves throughout the small intestine, starts to break things down further. We get bile from the liver and gallbladder. This helps to break down the fats. And all of this is wanting us to, this cycle of things that kind of break down things. The pancreas is what releases the bicarbonate, which is what makes it more pH balanced to leave the stomach. Liver is going to help with detoxification and bile production. Gallbladder is going to store and release bile, but all of these things have to be working together and in concert for your best possible digestion. Like it's a symphony of organs. Once it gets, go ahead, Ryan.
No, I was just remarking about, it is a symphony of organs. It's very interesting.
Yeah. And they all have a job to do at the right time. And if someone misses, right, if that cymbal doesn't ring at the right time, it throws off the whole orchestra.
Yeah.
Like things don't happen. By the time we get to the large intestine, this food has been mostly absorbed of all the nutrients that your body needs, but there is still things that happen in the large intestine that are very important. This is where we reabsorb water and electrolytes. This is what keeps us from, having very, very loose stools. The water gets kind of sucked out of that food at that point. There is some fermentation in the gut, and this is where we synthesize some of our other vitamins. We form stool and prepare for elimination. So the lining of the gut is turning over all the time, but it's also allowing things to kind of pass in and out. We have to think of our digestive system like from the mouth to the anus as outside the body almost, because all of that, unless your body allows it in, never gets in. It stays out. It goes in, but it comes right back out.
Yeah. That's very interesting. But it decides what gets in, and that's kind of like your defender against anything that could cause harm.
Absolutely. I think we've all seen that. Like if you're sick, your stool might change, and that's your body is getting rid of a lot of, white blood cells after you've been sick for a long time that have been broken down and used, and all these other byproducts of inflammation that are coming through. So like it's eliminating things all the time as well. Right. Some of the reasons why digestion is absolutely crucial for health, and we'll talk about this in more detail, but poor digestion is poor nutrient delivery. So if you're not digesting your food, you're not getting the nutrients out of it that you need. It's going to affect your hormones, your immune system, your ability to detox, cognition. If you look at diseases like Parkinson's or Alzheimer's, there's almost always a connection with people years prior, decades prior, who have always had chronic digestive issues and then develop Parkinson's later in life. So they're trying now to do microbiome testing to see if they can identify, what these markers might be of Parkinson's. And then it's the whole, chicken or the egg. Do people who have digestive issues have a higher incidence of having neurodegenerative diseases, or do the neurodegenerative diseases cause the digestive issues because of the link between the vagus nerve? Like you'll kind of see on the next couple of slides where we talk about that brain gut connection, that it does become this cycle of dis-ease, essentially. These chronic issues are going to trigger inflammation. You can have inflammation of the digestive organs themselves, but this is also going to trigger systemic inflammation in the body in some cases. And like I said, we'll see why. There's things that can go wrong with digestion on a base level. Low stomach acid, Erick, is my number one. That is the number one thing that is overlooked by people. the low stomach acid. Everyone is worried about having too much stomach acid. And most of the time that's not the case. It's very rare that someone is overproducing stomach acid. It can happen, but it's rare. Having an enzyme or a bile deficiency. Now this can be because, like, let's say you've had your gallbladder removed, or you just are not, you don't have enough of the right nutrients to even make bile or to make the necessary enzymes. Dysbiosis is just a very broad term for bad bacteria in the gut or out of whack bacteria in the gut, dysbiotic. You can have leaky gut, which is just your body is the tight junctions that form these pyre patches throughout the entire intestines can start to just let stuff through. Big stuff that then your body is like, what is this? This is not usable. Like, we have to attack this. And that just then can lead to inflammation, bloating, reflux, IBS. I'm going to throw SIBO in there, and SIFO, small intestine fungal overgrowth as well. So all of these things are things that can go wrong with digestion. And that's why talking about that north to south process is so important, because where does this all start? A lot of it starts with this gut-brain connection. Our gut really is our second brain. Oh, it is. And this is what Hippocrates knew. This happens via the enteric nervous system. The vagus nerve connects the brain and the gut, and stress directly affects digestion too. And we'll talk a lot more about that in my next slide. Yes, so we see this cycle here. So how does this happen? So, these signals from the brain to the gut to the microbiome are all affecting our nervous system, our immune system, circulatory system. Everything is being affected by this. So it's pretty remarkable how much our gut triggers other functions in our body outside of the actual digestive process itself.
So even the nervous system. Like, let me ask you a question here. I don't mean to throw you off your presentation.
Oh, no, it's
Let's
fine.
say if somebody's suffering from some peripheral neuropathy, now, would their diet affect the neuropathy, the peripheral neuropathy that they have? Could it trigger it? Could it exacerbate it? So, for instance, somebody who has peripheral neuropathy and was doing very well, and then all of a sudden the peripheral neuropathy came back, possibly it's stress factors and things of that sort, but could it also be the stomach? Because the person that I'm speaking about in particularly, prior to the peripheral neuropathy coming back with vengeance, was having significant gut issues for several weeks.
Yeah, I would say that's absolutely possible. Yeah. The couple of things I would look at there anything that's stressing your nervous system, especially over an extended period of time, if you're having chronic gut inflammation or chronic gut issues, that is stressing your entire nervous system. So yes, could that trigger a flare-up of a more systemic autoimmune condition? Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
The other thing, when you think of people who are diabetic, they can start to have diabetic retinopathy or these, nerve issues distally, related to sugar glycation of cells. So the diet component of it, I would look at both, the stress component, but then also what's actually the makeup of the diet itself could definitely exacerbate these symptoms.
That's interesting, because I suggested it was diet and stress.
It probably is both. Yeah. And that's probably very true.
Both, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Moving along.
Yes. So this is what I really wanted to focus on too, because, we're talking about hormones for me. So why would someone care about hormones if we're talking about digestion? The main one, and I think people are coming on board with this now, that serotonin, it's a neurotransmitter that regulates our mood, is produced primarily in the gut. Now, this is interesting because someone commented on AB Live recently when I said this, that they said that was false and that serotonin cannot cross the blood-brain barrier. And that is correct. However, that is not where it has its function. So the brain has its own serotonin. The brain produces its own serotonin that is unique to the brain. The rest of the serotonin functions on the brain, not in the brain. And trying to explain that to somebody, it's because it controls the nerves throughout the rest of the body. Our brain is just the control center. It doesn't mean that serotonin is entering the brain and that's how it's functioning. It's not. It's telling the nerves throughout the rest of the body what to do. And those are the signals that are getting back to the brain. So that's why, and I think it came up when we were talking specifically about GLP-1s and some of the potentially depressive symptoms. And I postulated that perhaps that this might even change some of that serotonin production if you're having like a severe slowing in the gut motility. Like, could that possibly be one of the causes? We don't know. And that's, again, just me postulating, and there's no proof of that. But Yeah. See, this is, I used to teach anatomy to massage
She does, doesn't
therapists.
she?
So
Yeah.
I get very teachery. I'm sorry.
It's great.
Yeah. So, serotonin being the big one, but the gut also produces its own hormones. So it produces GABA and other chemical substances that influence how we think, how we feel, how we sleep. Hormones like ghrelin, which we're all becoming more familiar with. I always think of ghrelin because ghrelin makes us hungry, and I think of like grr, like a bear,
Yeah.
like it's hungry.
Yeah.
Right.
And leptin makes us, is that satiety signaling.
Mhm.
These are also formed in the brain, or these tell the brain like what's going on. Like that's how our brain knows. That's why I said like our stomach has these stretch receptors, but it's the rest of the intestines too that kind of help trigger these specific hormones. And we're all learning so much more about that with GLP-1s and their ability to down-regulate, hunger. But these are things that come from our gut. So very important.
Let me ask you a question about hunger
Yeah.
and THC. If ghrelin is the hormone that makes us hungry, how does THC, what mechanism makes people get the munchies from THC?
I actually don't know what I've not done a lot of research on THC.
I was just curious. I didn't know if like it agonized the ghrelin in some way or like mimicked. Who knows?
It probably. I mean, I would think it has a similar function to just like the way caffeine kind of blocks,
right,
like the receptors. That I think it would probably be the same thing. Like maybe it just kind of it attaches to them, and just. Yeah, that'd be. I'm
tough to
intrigued.
find out now.
Yeah.
That's a good question. Nobody will find out soon enough.
Yeah.
Where's Joshua? He usually pipes in.
He should know,
right?
He'll have an answer.
Like, gotta tell us. Yep.
There's a little delay.
Why does THC give us the munchies? Yes. Google that. Ask ChatGPT. Somebody ask ChatGPT.
Yeah.
So getting into this in a little more detail, like why digestion is critical for our hormone health. Digestion affects the hormone production from start to finish. Again, your body isn't making things out of things it doesn't have. So even, we talked so much in our previous podcast about nutrition. Nutrition it's a cofactors. You need minerals, you need microminerals, you need vitamins. All of these things together are what produce things. So you have to be putting them all in to get what you want out. And that includes hormones. Like your hormones don't just magically appear in your body. They have to be made. Any part of digestion that's impaired, if you have low stomach acid, poor bile flow, dysbiosis, all of these things are going to make your entire digestive or your hormonal health suffer because your digestion is suffering. Digestion. Oh, can we go back for just 1 second?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right. I think I was, yeah. So the other thing too that is critical for hormones specifically with digestion is the appropriate breakdown and elimination of them. And this is something where, Brian, I think you would be so good to talk about is when you look at things like someone's free testosterone versus their total testosterone, and same thing with estrogen, you can have so much circulating hormone in your body, but you're not actually using it.
Mm-hmm. It's an important concept. So there's also something called glucuronidation, where we attach a glucuric acid molecule to hormones, and we do it to all our hormones. We do it. It's an elimination technique but it's one of our defense mechanisms against too many hormones. Now we are just discovering just now that glucuronidated hormones can travel back to the gut, where they can dissociate from the glucuric acid and go back into your bloodstream and be used again. So it's actually a really important aspect. Like, can we actually tag something to be filtered out by the liver, but actually have it still be used? So just like you're saying, yeah, it's circulating, and that's an important concept to understand if we can still utilize it through the gut.
Yes. Or if we're getting so out of whack and our gut is not able to appropriately attach and eliminate the byproducts, then we might be getting false readings too, that somebody's coming up really high, but they're still having symptoms. And like, why would that be the case? So someone's symptomatic of hormone deficiency, but they're showing that their levels are really high. Well, perhaps this is just a lot of circulating hormone that's not actually being utilized by the body, because then there aren't the right cofactors to get it where it needs to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was good with that one. If your digestion is poor, what happens? Like, it starts this cascade. You may not absorb amino acids that are critical for making the hormones in your body. You may lack the fat soluble vitamins and cholesterol to build steroid hormones. So a lot of the synthesis happens in the large intestine. So to be able to synthesize these fat soluble vitamins that your body needs to make hormones. This is all happening in the gut as well. You may start to develop nutritional deficiencies that then impair production and detoxification. And this is where you can see people who are morbidly obese are often very deficient in vitamins and minerals, or, because their body is like storing them, but not actually releasing them, because they're being stored in the fat, but not being released from the fat, or they're kind of stuck in the fat and not getting into the body where they need to be. So the ability to properly detoxify all of these things is really a key part of digestion as well. And that's, it is what you're putting in, but I think people don't think about that part, because once the food is in, like, you just stop thinking that any part of it is going to help get anything else bad out. But it really does. Like, some of these things are key for attaching, like vitamin C is a great one. It's very easily depleted during times of stress, after surgery, when you need it for repair. So your body uses it all up. And then if there isn't any, it's just lost looking for it. So making sure that you're getting the nutrients that you need at the right time, but also having enough of the right vitamins and minerals, like we talked about in the first episode of the nutrition series, it's so key too. So it's not like you can take like a huge bolus of something one time and expect it to work all the time. Like, that's not how nutrition works. Like, we need to be feeding our bodies with the right things at the right time over a long period of time, like a lifetime, to be healthy. All right. Next slide, please. So here are some tips to optimize digestion. And these are very basic, but these are easy things that pretty much anybody can do. Chewing your food thoroughly is number one. And actually, there should have been a number 0. 0, or the first step, is being in a relaxed state, excuse me, when you eat. Like, this is because digestion is a north to south process. If you are eating when you are very stressed, or I see people like eating, like even in their car or at an airport, when they're like running through a terminal, like throwing back a sandwich, like, your body's not going to get anything out of that. Like, it just isn't. Like, you're not going to digest that well. So getting your mind in the right place to eat, thinking about food, like the smell, the whole experience of eating, to me, is step one. Even if that's quick, even if it's just taking a second to like sit down, take a couple deep breaths and eat, you're going to be in a much better state to actually fully digest that food like you should. Then you're going to chew it thoroughly. This is where bodybuilders often are just shoveling in food, or things like rice. They're like swallowing it whole without even chewing it at all. Chewing your food is really key. That's that fundamental step of digestion, is the actual mechanical breakdown. Your stomach doesn't have teeth. It just kind of massages the food into submission. It doesn't have the ability to break through it. So you need to break it down.
Yeah. You actually start digestion through saliva too, the very beginning processes of digestion. And like, interestingly enough, like some animals, like some of the lizards, right, that have like really poisonous or like really bites, like their saliva is so, like, they actually like will spit out at insects their saliva, and it just starts digesting them, and it kills them because of the acids actually kill. And it's actually just digestive acids that start digesting them right there out in the open, and then they're able to eat them. But yeah, digestion starts with your saliva.
Salivary amylase, right? I mean, if you could find a way to like your own stomach acid at something, it would damage them.
It would work. It probably melt somebody's arm off.
Yeah, you could burn through skin. Right. Oh, here we go. Josh told us.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Where is it?
CB1 or something.
Or sorry, Buddha told us. I just saw that pop up.
Buddha. All right, cool.
Yep.
So,
I thought it was Josh too.
THC binds to the CB1 receptors in the brain.
Okay. Interesting.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, so it is like caffeine, like it binds to the receptor.
What's funny is I was going to say it when we were talking about it. I was like, it has to be ghrelin related, because just how you're like the voraciousness with which you get hungry. That's a ghrelin thing. That's exactly what ghrelin does.
Then wouldn't it stimulate GH production?
Yeah, well, ghrelin does that.
And I should be on like the equivalent of 8 IUs a day.
Well, we have a new Josh in the chat. It's Dave. Sorry, Dave.
Dave.
Thanks for that answer. We appreciate it.
Resident expert. All right. So We can support stomach acid if it's low, like Eric and I were discussing at the beginning. If you do have low stomach acid, you can support that with taking supplemental HCl or other things, which we'll talk about in the next slide. Staying hydrated, but not excessively during meals is really key. You don't want to be diluting your stomach acid. So the last thing you want to do is chug like 40 ounces of water and then eat. Because your stomach is like, you're diluting everything. And it would be the same thing. Like if you ate and then just like start chugging water, you're just making the job of all of these organs harder. Like it's just, you're making your body work harder to digest the food, including fiber, fermented foods, and whole foods, of course, because these are the things that we need to build our bodies with. All right. So the nutritional supplements, and again, I don't recommend these to everyone, but these are some things to consider for digestion. If your digestion is needing some support, digestive enzymes, there are many on the market. Some are good, some are worthless. There's all different kinds. Doing bitters before meals is one of my favorite things. So when I go out, I don't drink alcohol because I'm on contest prep, but I will just do soda water with bitters because every bar has bitters. And it really, these traditional medicinals, like things like bitters, really are beneficial. Like they are really good for digestion. Just kind of get your body primed, like it's ready to go. Probiotics and prebiotics to support intestinal health. I don't recommend people just start taking a probiotic. I'd rather get your probiotics from probiotic-rich foods. Same thing with prebiotics. However, there are instances where I would recommend supplementing, but I think people think that just taking, whatever over-the-counter probiotic is going to be good for them. And in a lot of cases, that can actually make the balance of bacteria in your gut be off. So I wouldn't just start taking them. Yep, zinc carnosine is a good one. And then HCl support, I say only if guided by a practitioner. There's a lot of things you can look up online on how to like kind of dose your own HCl, and it's very widely available, HCl with pepsin, but you can definitely go too far. That's all I'm going to say. It is a powerful substance. So I would recommend if you're wanting to go down the route of doing some supplementation to talk to someone, but people use your discretion. So to summarize all of this, digestion is the root of wellness or the foundation of wellness. It is a north to south cascade, and that matters. It starts in the top. Healthy digestion fuels your entire body and your hormones. Starts with simple habits to support long-term health. And by that, I mean like even things like chewing your food, being in a relaxed state when you eat. These are simple things we can do that anyone can do that are free to really improve our digestion from the top down.
Yeah.
That's it. I think that was my last one.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask about, because food and digestion apparently has some impact on hormones and the endocrine system. Now, kids these days, and I know as a kid, I ate like shit. It seems like kids can get away with a lot. I'm thinking of my own son personally. How would a very poor diet, somebody who really doesn't eat all that much, is about 138 pounds at 17 years old and is just never hungry. He is literally never hungry. And it's an issue that we're trying to figure out what we can do about it. Like, bring him to a doctor. I'm ready to just get him put him on some MK or something, just a ghrelin mimetic, or any ghrelin mimetic. But my wife won't let me do it because he's only 17. But I want to get him eating. How would that affect his endocrine system? Because when I see him, I actually see somebody who has symptoms of low testosterone.
Yeah,
I clearly do.
Yeah. Undereating at any age is going to downregulate hormone production. And especially in like an adolescent who should be at their prime.
Right.
It can be challenging. So disordered eating can show up in a lot of forms. And I'm not saying an eating disorder by any means, but like just kind of that your body starts to get a little dysfunctional around food sometimes. And that can be from a timing issue. When I, work with clients who are like, I'm never hungry in the morning, I never eat breakfast. Well, like part of that is just, you need to teach your body sometimes. Like sometimes our bodies just get used to whatever routine we're in. And that's what they are adapted to. You can retrain it to not be adapted to that. So like you can retrain your appetite through meal timings, like really specific meal timings, even if they're small, because your body then is going to start to crave nutrients at those times. It really will. Like they've actually done, studies on meal timing and how much better people digest, or how much more they kind of assimilate out of food when they're eating at very specific times versus random times throughout the day, even when they adjust for calorie intake. So doing things like that, like getting back on a very regular eating cycle can be really helpful. With all that aside, like if that's not going to work, like just making sure that the nutrient density of the food that the person is eating, like in post-surgical, like someone who's just had surgery or who has their jaw wired shut,
Right.
making sure that they're getting the most, like you're supplementing with omegas, like all the things that you need to actually support hormone health. If it was a female, I would say like making sure they were getting evening primrose oil, lots of omegas, even if that was through supplementation to meet those nutritional deficiencies, if they were not able to get them through real food.
Okay. All right. I'm probably gonna like to talk to you privately about my son and his issues, because we don't know what to do at this point. So
yeah, it can be tough
I
with
think getting
kids.
some
And the
good
other thing
direction from you.
that can happen with adolescents specifically, and you see this with even like with younger children too, like they forget to eat. Like it's not not necessarily that they are hungry or not.
It's like a
they
chore to them. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Like
It's like, I'd rather be doing something else. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. They don't want to stop playing. They don't want to do whatever. And so it's like, it's like they don't even care that they're hungry because they just don't want to be bothered to eat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, he ends up eating all night while he's talking with his friends on the phone. And it's all, go to see his room in the morning, and there's all this freaking junk food everywhere. It's like, oh my gosh, it's literally all you ate in the last 24 hours was a bunch of freaking junk food. But
but that's
not gonna get into it.
one other thing I'll say about that is eating on a nocturnal cycle is not how humans are fundamentally meant to eat. So again, that's not going to optimize digestion. And you see this with night shift workers. Like it can be a lot harder for them to diet because when you're eating at night, your body's just not primed to eat, even in the winter, like from eating within the time that the sun is up is, from a digestive standpoint, definitely most optimal. And again, with a kid of any age, like I always say, like, well, they'll eat eventually when they're hungry. If they only have certain foods to eat, they will eventually eat those. But it's hard with a teenager. Like they're gonna, like it's really challenging.
Yeah, it is challenging is a good word for it.
So there's been a couple of things that I've been kind of waiting to talk about, and I like the again, presentation was wonderful as always, Amy, and it brings to light something that obviously we've seen that is important, and people who are guiding people through wellness, right? See this a lot, and it's much more prevalent and pervasive than we've thought, and that is I want to say that what you certainly touched upon, the inflammatory nature of foods, the for some people, the immune response that happens from some foods that your body is treating as an antigen, toxicity from environmental toxins, all of these things can create this immune response that causes inflammatory cytokines, and this can cause massive IBS. It can cause and as you started to mention, like Parkinson's, and who knows about the complexities of how those are tied together. But I have seen people as well with anxiety, and in the past I have been, now I consider it like when I'm starting to break down a person's situation, like diet comes up. But in the past, like I've people have said, well, I have anxiety. Okay, let's see, was your estrogen high? And I go through all the hormones and trying to figure it out. And then suddenly, and I'm like racking my brain going, geez, what is wrong? The person comes back and I'm like, oh, I stopped eating this one thing, and now my anxiety's gone. I'm like, holy crap. Like there's this whole other dimension, right, to foods, and how many people, and especially throughout history and before we really started to know this and understand it, are suffering from, some problem, whether it be like, again, severe IBS or anxiety or some sort of condition caused from inflammatory cytokines that could be avoided just if they understood that it's something that you're eating. Something as simple as something that you're eating is causing this major issue in your life. And it's almost distressing, because like how many people have lived and died like these suboptimal lives, not only because of their hormones, but because of just they're eating something and they didn't know if they stopped eating that life would be a lot better.
Well, I look at it not so much of what people are eating is the problem. It's what they're not eating that ends up being the bigger problem. You say anxiety to me, I immediately think that this person is mineral deficient.
Mm.
You know, like, are they getting zinc was brought up? I mean, those are key things. Cognitive dysfunction, brain fog, all of these things. Like, I don't think, I mean, yes, what are you eating? But what are you not eating that your body needs to do this? And I mean, look at throughout history, things like rickets, you know, scurvy, you know, even just one deficiency can create a cascade of problems in the body that are easily reversed by just eating a little bit of like having B vitamins or having some citrus, you know, like it's so often what you're missing in your diet versus what you're getting in your diet.
Yep. And that's true. What are you not getting, or what are you eating that's causing the problem, or what are you not eating that's causing the problem? It's absolutely true. And like, I think what highlights it is exactly what you talked about is scurvy. At one point in this world's history, scurvy was a major problem. And all it would have taken is an orange or a lime. And you know, at the time they just weren't, those were rare items to come by. Right. So vitamin C was just rare. And yeah, you're absolutely right. Like how many people lived and died of scurvy and had awful lives because of scurvy, when a couple, you know, an orange a week or something would have handled that. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It's like a part of it is actually like, I don't know. There's something that gives, it's almost scary about it, right? Like I mean,
it's a lot scarier when you think about what we're doing to our food supply. And if you look at the vitamin C content of an orange now versus an orange 50 to 100 years ago, you know, oranges and lemons, or oranges and limes. Yes. I mean, lemons and limes, Josh. We are depleting our soil of the minerals that it needs. So like even the food that's grown in this soil is not as mineral dense as the food that used to be. So it takes more of a substance to get the same amount of nutrients that we would have gotten from that exact same broccoli, let's say 100 years ago. Like we are degrading our own food supply.
Yeah. And as you indicated, we're adding things that become environmental toxins that kind of, create all these problems. So yeah, it's important. And you know, consequently, like now diet is a huge part of what we're diagnosing when we have these problems, and we're saying, okay, now, you know, we have to, here's your hormones, here's the levels, here's what usually works. Okay, now is your diet. And then now we have to go through that. And I think it's more, it's, you know, it's obviously the medical community does not learn anything about nutrition. It's very, very little about nutrition. So, you know, your doctor isn't telling you about all these important things and all these foods that could be causing problems. So I don't know. It's like how many people are just living these suboptimal lives because we just don't understand this. And you know, it also makes me marvel at a lot of people. Like I have a lot of people who come through who we're guiding, and they've done remarkable work to figure out all the foods that were causing them problems and to eliminate them. And you start seeing it, and it's like, wow, like this took a lot of work for you to actually figure out all these things. I think even like, and some people hit it by accident. Like Charles, he was on here earlier listening. Charles just off a whim tried a keto diet, or a complete carnivore diet. He was just, you know, going through, you know, just trying it, figured I'll try it for a while. He said it like was a game changer for him. Like he obviously eliminated something that was causing, you know, these inflammatory response that was really causing him a lot of distress and problems. And it just totally went away when he moved to a carnivore diet. So now it's about, and so he found it just kind of by accident. He just assumed like, oh, I have these problems and this is just my life. And now he's like, oh, so now he's like slowly adding back.
Yeah, I thought that's what he was saying, is he's slowly adding like one thing at a time.
Yeah, just to see. But like, I mean, he said I was doing that for years. How many years was he just dealing with this problem that he had? And little did he know it was something he was eating. And now, you know, now he's going through this process of elimination. It's just really, really fascinating how important this is.
Well, and sometimes something important to consider, people tend to go really extreme with diet, and they sometimes go too far. And that yes, it may feel like it's solving the problem, but it didn't need to be like that, because it could have been something farther up the chain. The other thing people end up doing sometimes is they cut things out and then they get so paranoid of introducing anything at all.
Yeah.
People who go completely FODMAP free and like, well, any FODMAP is going to give me digestive distress. Well, why? If you're eating whole foods and, and you don't have a true allergy, there's got to be something else going on with your digestive system that's not allowing you to digest these foods at all in any quantity. And I mean, these are people who are like, they can't even like sniff an onion, or else they're like, oh no, I'll get bloated, so that's not good either. And we tend to seek the restriction with diet in a lot of ways. Like people think that the stricter they are, the more they cut out, the better their health will be. And that's not the case. Like you can end up developing severe nutrient deficiencies because your healthy diet is overly restrictive. So I don't recommend like broad, huge elimination diets unless you're working with someone on a great plan for reintroduction and you have a time, like a purpose for this, because our bodies really do crave diversity. The more diverse our diet is, the more variety of fruits and vegetables, the more variety of meats, or protein sources, our body is going to be getting more out of that than it will from just like a very rote, yes, it's ultimately not the answer. But sometimes necessary. And sometimes it is, because you have sometimes got so much inflammation happening in your digestive system that it is necessary to go real hard on elimination to let things reset. But I hate for someone to think that because I cut out all these food groups, that now this is my life. And I do, just because it solved it for the time. Like I always think there's a way to get, once you've got your digestive system working healthily again, that you should be able to reintroduce whole foods in a lot of forms. So most people, and there's always going to be rare occasions, but
it's like phenomenal advice, Amy. So this is exactly what a lot of us were just kind of trying to help Charles with this, and I think it's a good example of it. He went to this strict carnivore diet, solved a lot of problems, and he himself was like, well, I can't sustain this. Like this doesn't seem healthy. Like it's helping for now, but I can't imagine like this is going to be good for me long term. So then it was about, okay, we kind of started talking about, okay, let's start reintroducing things one by one to see which one is causing you. And then once you figure out you can't eat this, we'll incorporate that, incorporate this, incorporate some greens, incorporate this, and just one by one and reintroduce things. And if something causes you a problem, okay, now I know that I can't eat this one thing, but let me figure out what else I can eat that has that same the same nutrients that item did. And you can slowly just figure out exactly what you can eat. But yeah, and that's kind of what you indicated by unless you're doing this with a professional that has a plan to reintroduce all these things, right? So
yeah, people can get down this path of like they're only eating 5 foods, and that I've seen that, and because they just they get so worried about relapsing. Like if they finally feel good, I mean, we all know if our digestion is off, I mean, again, the cycle, right? That's why I put those 2 charts, because it messes with your head, and then your head is messing with your gut, and your gut's messing with your head, and you're stressed, and like you can't eat this before you go on a road trip, because what if you have diarrhea in the car, or what if you want to go out to dinner, or you're going to be, even intimacy can really start to suffer. People who have IBS really struggle with intimate relationships, or if you're having terrible gas and bloating, like it's hard to feel sexy when you're having a terrible, when you have terrible gas and bloating. So, but then these things get in our head, and then you see where that fear comes from. Like people build up all this fear around food. So then they're like, well, then I just have to keep restricting. Like I just have to keep only eating this, because if I don't, like everything's going to cascade back into bad. But that's stressful in and of itself, and again, like what came first, the chicken or the egg? Like then that stress, it all cycle.
It's
all right. Let's take a couple of member questions here that we have in the chat. Actually, we have quite a few of them. So let's go ahead and take Zyonics here. He's saying, Amy, what are the top overlooked gut or micronutrient factors you see stalling fat loss in people who are strict with the diet and training? And what next steps would help break stubborn plateaus? Sorry.
I can't say it's usually a micronutrient deficiency with dieting. Like if you're in a plateau, I mean, ultimately thermodynamics does reign supreme. The things that can help, though, is somewhat changing the macronutrient balance of the diet to break a plateau is something that I find very useful. So someone who's really struggling to break a plateau, I love PSMF days, which is a protein sparing modified fasting style diet where you basically are just eating protein. Sometimes that can trigger it. But ultimately, if you're eating a healthful diet overall and you're stuck in a plateau, it's probably not some missing micronutrient. It's probably just a time of either needing to start reversing out and giving your body a little bit of a break because you've been pushing it for so long that it's just very stubborn, or increasing your output or decreasing your input.
Is that that's a time when carb loading would actually probably help, right? Because you can
Potentially.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, doing the, what is it, the sugar fast, right? So either going like, doing some sugar fasting days, where you're eating like really simple complex carbohydrates and really drastically, or eliminating your protein, and or going the other way and really doing like some really high protein with very little carbs, very little fat, just to kind of get things started again.
Or carb load and then pull it, and then and then pull your carbs down so that you can raise your metabolism and then drop it. Yeah. Very, very interesting.
All right. From member Quaz here. Thank you, Amy, for that. Member Quaz, do you have experience supplementing with taurine? I keep hearing it get brought up from fitness influencers.
Taurine is actually one of my favorite supplements.
Oh, yeah.
I take taurine morning
yeah.
and night. Yeah, I take a gram morning and night. It's really good. I mean, there's actually human studies on taurine. I have another podcast, and one of the research we're into, I talked specifically about taurine and its ability to help with exercise output. It also is really good for helping with brain health. I heard Nick Walker is a huge fan of taurine. It helps with cramps from taking clenbuterol. So that's a lot of the reason why bodybuilders take it, because it does help reduce cramping with clenbuterol specifically.
No kidding.
Yeah. So like taking,
that's interesting.
These guys are on high dose clen, high dose taurine is also really beneficial. Yeah, and there's in studies, I mean, the toxic limit of it is so high, you're not really going to do any damage by taking, even a higher than recommended dosage. I had someone commented, so when I did that other podcast episode, a woman who listened to it, she was on high blood pressure medication and started supplementing with taurine and was able to eliminate her high blood pressure medication. So sometimes your body's just missing something.
Yeah.
Okay, moving along here. I want to, before I read off Ruben's question here, I got to tell you guys, I saw he posted this on Facebook today. It was freaking hilarious. Here's the cure for menopause women who are having night sweats and hot flashes. This is for real, no joke. They sell this little mini air conditioner that goes underneath your bed, and you actually put the little hose up under the covers. Shit, no more night sweats, hot flashes are gone, got menopause beat. I'm ready to take on the day, right? Oh my God. I saw that from Ruben. I was like, that is freaking hysterical, bro. All right. Does Amy have any experience with specta cell micronutrient testing? Dr. Erick Serrano talks about this often.
I do not. That's not what I'm familiar with.
I don't either.
I guess that was easily answered. All right. Perfect. Let's move along here to Zionic. Okay, what are the biggest mistakes you see people make with meal timing or food choices when trying to lose stubborn weight?
Weight loss in general, again, going back to the thermodynamics, so that's probably the biggest mistake, is that people are overestimating their output and underestimating their input. And this is even in studies where they have nutritionists try and have memory recall of what they ate, they're closer. They're usually only off by like 20%, but your average population, if you ask them memory recall on what they ate, they can be off by as much as 80%, like underestimating how much they ate, like when they put them in a lab. So I would say that's number one. So really nailing down what you're eating is key, because you can't change what you don't track. Other than that, with meal timing, I would say the other two things I see people get into trouble with is they macro hoard. So they kind of starve themselves all day thinking like, oh, well, I don't want to eat too much because I want to, have food left over. I want to be able to eat. And then they they're really hungry. So then they end up just blowing it out of the water when they finally do eat. Those are the two things I see. Or just like restricting too hard and then just binging and or like just eating a huge meal and then thinking like, well, now I've ruined it. So now I'm just going to eat like this for the rest of the week and start again on Monday. None of those things are good. I always tell people, no matter what you ate, you're going to eat again. You will absolutely eat again. So why not just make that next meal a better choice? Like, who cares? Like, what you ate is in the past, but you're going to eat again. So make that next decision better. Don't think that you've ruined it. You've never ruined it. You've never ruined it.
Yeah.
You'll
Don't be too hard on yourself.
Yeah.
It's just an excuse to go ahead and eat what you want. No, I get it though.
Yeah. Well, you just dig yourself deeper, and I think, and yeah, like just don't, it's in the past. Everything you ate before, it's in the past. It's got to get out somehow.
Okay. Damien here. Remember Damien? This is a long one. I think it's gonna. Yeah, it did fill up the box. All right, good. Could you tell us a little bit about long-term consequences of growing obesity level excess fat, even when subsequently loses it all and to a lean, mid-normal BMI, more empty fat cells, more hungry, forever?
Potentially, and this is where fat, our fat is an organ. Fat cells are kind of like an organ system in the body, so they have a lot of hormonal signaling. If someone overfeeds to the point, which is hard to do, like your body at a normal healthy functioning body is going to not want to build more cells, but it will if it has to. But once those cells are built, like, yes, again, they're going to deflate, like, getting the air out of a balloon, but they're never going to really go away completely. Now, your body is breaking them down and, rejuvenating your cells all the time. But if you have overfed to a state where you were obese for an extended period of time, yes, you're going to have more fat cells than someone who was never obese. And that's just life. Interestingly enough, you would think if that was truly the case, that it had this huge impact on hormones, that the fix for that would just be liposuction, right? You just liposuction out those cells and all of a sudden you have less leptin, or you have,
That was the other part of
less
his
ghrelin.
question.
There we go.
You
And
just answered it.
yeah, no, I mean, so I work for a plastic surgeon. We do liposuction like every day. And I will tell you this, you do not have less hunger after you remove those cells. So there's more to it than just the fat cells themselves and having those hormonal triggered urges to eat. And that's where the gut brain connection really becomes part of it, because yes, they're all going to be signaling, but your body gets used to certain signals as well. So and this is why in initial studies, like when they first found ghrelin, they're like, oh great, we just block ghrelin and people, will never eat again. It didn't work. It didn't work. So it worked in mice, but it didn't work in humans. So there's more to it than just that. And your body gets used to its kind of own, and we all have kind of slightly different levels of things like hormones and things like, other things in our bodies. So just because there's a lot of signal doesn't mean your body's going to respond with an over-exaggerated response.
Okay, let's see.
I have to point out something here that, let's see, Damien. I don't know why, Damien, you had to bring this up, but he said, so this would be a good time where you may want to give yourself IBS, because in some scenarios it may be a positive thing. So I guess Damien felt the need to.
Well, I mean, in some cultures, they will pay thousands of dollars. Like they actually feed women and men a specific diet of very fragrant substances or certain types of foods and then yes, like people pay to watch them defecate, and yeah, it's like it's a thing.
It's a special fetish. Okay. Yeah. All right. To each his own.
Exactly. Don't yuck on somebody's yum, Ryan.
All right. We got a question here. Actually, it's not even a question. Let's just talk about this for a few minutes here from Ryan Parsons. He wanted to discuss any genetic mutations or methylation issues with gut disorders.
Oh, there could be many. And these, again, Ryan can probably speak to this too. I mean, the way our bodies methylate and or express their genes or deal with any of these functions in our bodies can absolutely have a digestive component. Absolutely. And vice versa. And can those things be affected? Absolutely. Yes. Because again, if what your body is not, if you're not breaking things down appropriately, well, then your methylation, if you are already, let's say you're a low methylator, if you have the MTHFR variant and you're not getting proper nutrients and your digestion is off, well, you're going to start to feel worse. Like those symptoms are going to be amplified for sure.
Yeah. I think part of the problem is like how many of these, because we're just starting to really understand methylation, and we're just at the very beginning of it. Like how many of these conditions exist that we don't know about?
Well, and how many of them are exacerbated, or could be, like you said, Ryan, could be made better by changes in digestion.
Yeah.
We are very much on the early stages, and I'm sure the question about the specific cell testing, I mean, these are things that are going to be huge, especially with the inclusion of AI and the ability to really extrapolate information from all of this masses of data in a very rapid way. I mean, it's going to be fundamental for how we look at things like autoimmune conditions, methylation disorders, all of these things, genetic conditions that potentially could be reversed by subtle changes in nutrient status.
Yeah. 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 It's complex.
Yeah, to say the least.
All right. Last question here from the chat, and looks like it's wrapping up at about the perfect time. Okay, this will probably be for both of you guys if you want to hop in. From Wolf here, mom starting test sip at 5 milligrams a week. I know the pharmacokinetics are different in women, so subq or IM, injection frequency, side effects to look out for. Thanks for all your content, Ryan and Eric. Thank you, Ryan, not me.
Well, thank you. Eric, you are important in all of this as well. Yeah, so yeah, you won't see this written anywhere, but I have just noticed that I've had too much experience with it to say that it's not a definitive thing, is that females process testosterone cypionate at a slower rate than men. The subq or IM question is interesting. Now, normally I'm a big fan of intermuscular because that's kind of the way testosterone cypionate was intended to be injected in the oil bolus, and it's better absorbed that way. There's with subq, it's times if the bolus gets balled up in the lipid bilayer of the skin, then you can have absorption issues or pain at the injection site. And with IM, we just don't get any of that. So I'm always a fan of IM. However, there's a context with women where it depends on the concentration that they're using. So, for instance, we have to send. We actually found one company that can do this a little better, but like California only allows us to send commercial testosterone, right? And commercial testosterone is only made at 200 milligrams per milliliter. Females, there's no FDA approved solution for female testosterone, so we have to use men concentrations. So we'd send them a 1 milliliter vial of 200 milligram per milliliter, and the bolus that they use is so small that you really can't do it in anything other than an insulin syringe subcutaneously. So in that context, we're almost forced to do it. Otherwise, you just can't do an intermuscular with that small of a bolus.
How the heck are you going to get 5 or 10 milligrams out of a 200?
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to. That's why you would
crazy,
have to do it with an insulin syringe. And shame on the FDA for not approving any solutions for females. And we have some people in the commission of the FDA is really trying to take care of this, and we have. So hopefully soon we'll have some solutions for that. But for now, if you have to take that concentration, then you're going to have to use an insulin syringe. You're going to have to do it subcutaneously. Well, what I like to do though is if you take a 1/2 inch insulin syringe, you can really like bury it in your deltoid, and it's enough to pierce the epidermis for most people, and then you will get it into the top of the muscle mass. So we call that a shallow IM. So, but you still have to use that insulin syringe. So that's how I would. What do you
have to do? Backfill the sling pin? You can't draw that oil through that sling pin.
You can. It's just really slow. You can.
It must be just crazy slow.
It just takes a long time. Yeah,
I bet.
It's not that slow because you're using a really tiny syringe. Like if you use a 0.03 syringe, because the pressure is so low, it actually pulls through pretty easily. Now, if you were trying to use like a 1 or a 3 cc syringe to try and get that tiny little micro aliquot, it would be so hard. But
Joshua says it takes only about 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's not hard. I mean, it's a little slower. It's not like you're drawn with an 18 gauge, but you'd be surprised because the
I'm
pressure.
so lazy. I don't even change the pin. I use a 1.5 inch 21 gauge for like 0.3.
Who was it? We was talking about using the 18 or like a 14 gauge and like did a thigh injection with it. I was like, oh my gosh, did you have a hole in your leg?
I know, right? That's like what they use for a biopsy.
Oh, yeah. Like you get a core sample of your muscle.
Yeah, 31 gauge is crazy slow. The 25 is like what I use on my wife.
Yeah. I mean,
for her daily
I always suggest people use 28 or 29 gauge, but Amy makes a good point. Like using the 0.3 milliliter syringe is also important. It's important for two things. It's important for drawing it out and injecting it, because when you have the thinner the barrel, the more the less surface area to volume ratio. So you're actually actually pushing down on a more concentrated point, so you actually don't have to push down as hard. Like it's actually like
it wasn't easy.
If you actually get like even the 3cc syringes in a 25 gauge syringe, it's actually hard to push the barrel down because it's so wide and there's so much surface.
Yeah, it is. I always wondered why that was. That's interesting.
There's so much surface area, right? So, but when you get the 1 milliliter syringes with a 25 gauge, it's easy to push it down. It's again, it's the concentration, the less surface area allows for more focused pressure.
Yeah, that's what I use. I use a 0.3 syringe with a 30 gauge, and 1/2 inch is plenty. I mean, I can easily hit muscle.
Yeah. That's what I use for my peptides, actually.
Yeah. So that's the way for somebody to do testosterone who's doing a really low dose.
Mm-hmm.
If you
in
have
that
to use
case, I could see doing subq. If you're microdosing like that, I could, if it works for you. I've tried subq. I've tried every injection form imaginable.
Yeah.
So, all right. I just wanted to say here from Damien, he's very happy, Ryan. You have helped him out. He just smashed his quads today doing leg presses. And thanks to Hormones for Me for fixing his testosterone levels. Yeah. And thank you for joining the clinic, Damien, and also hanging out here in the chat. That's awesome.
Yeah. Damien had an interesting story, but we did help him where nobody else would, just because we understand hormones.
Okay. Amy, you got a quick minute to take this last question before we go?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
Sure.
So nutrients that I'd recommend while breastfeeding: 7 months postpartum, no energy, eyes are always irritated and red. I'm just so weak and tired. Number 1 would be focusing on things like egg yolks to get a lot of choline. You need that, and so does the baby. The thing I think a lot of women don't think about is the 4th trimester, is that time period after you have your baby. Your body has been depleted of so much. It's just like everything else. Your body is building a whole other human, and it's only building it off of what you put in. So if it doesn't get every single thing it needs from what you're eating, you know where it takes it from? It takes it from you. So I would make sure that you're nourishing yourself to an extreme level, making sure that you're getting a micronutrient supplement every day. I like a micromineral packet to make sure that your vitamins and nutrients, or your vitamins and minerals, are nice and high. Fatty fish, the things like dry eyes, red eyes, makes me right away think that you're probably essential fatty acid deficient. If it's okay with your OBGYN, which I'm sure it is at this point, doing something like an evening primrose oil, fatty fish, lots of egg yolks, a micromineral nutrient or a micromineral packet would be the other thing. The one I like is from, the name is escaping me. It's in a blue box, but it's a Trace Minerals. So the one from Trace Minerals, I would do that every day too. Those are things that are going to help with energy production. I mean, you're also probably just tired because you're a new mom, but getting your fats up and making sure you're on top of your micronutrient status is going to really help.
That's great. Yeah, that's good.
And hydration. Yeah. And remember, you built a human. You got to rebuild yourself now.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, you built a human.
Thank you so much, Amy. This was awesome. You always do a fantastic job with your presentations and with your answers that you give to the audience. Everybody appreciate you coming out tonight, and we will be seeing you. Oh, next week we have Arvind coming on, the medical chief officer here at hormonesforme.com. So that's going to be a fantastic show as well. So we look forward to seeing you guys next week. Ryan, Amy, if you'd like to say bye, please do.
Just thank you guys so much. Like, you guys have the best audience ever. I really appreciate it. The questions are incredible. I love it.
Yeah, and thank you for coming on, Amy. It's always a pleasure. Always so easy. You make this easy, and you always have a really great presentation, a really educational presentation. We appreciate it, and thank you to everybody for coming out. Thanks for all the questions. It's what makes this is the social socialism that we have here with the class, the audience here, and the talks. It's always great to chat with everybody. So thank you, everyone.
All right, guys. So you have a great rest of the week and great weekend. We'll see you next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 p.m. Pacific. Have a great night.